Why does an archipelago born from violent fire and isolated in the deep Atlantic draw millions to its rocky shores every year? The answer begins on the northern edges of Tenerife, where the ocean still battles the land. Here, jagged cliffs face a relentless tide, shaping a coastline that refuses to surrender. The Atlantic Ocean carves these basalt walls daily. As dawn breaks over the dark sand beaches, the true nature of these islands becomes clear. They are not gentle tropical escapes, but steep, hardened fortresses rising from the seafloor. The water forces its way against the rock, leaving behind steep ravines. Inland, the terrain fractures into deep valleys like the Masca Gorge. Winding roads cut through the steep interior, navigating sheer drops and dense green slopes. For centuries, these hidden ravines isolated small communities from the rest of the island. The steepness of the landscape dictates where roads can go and where people can live, forcing human settlement to adapt to the stone. On the neighboring island of La Gomera, fog rolls through the Garahone National Park. Towering volcanic plugs, like the Roque de Aganto, pierce the cloud cover. These massive stone pillars are the hardened remains of ancient volcanic vents, exposed after millions of years of erosion. As the morning weather shifts, the mist clears to reveal the sheer height of the rock. The dense, damp forests surrounding the peak rely on this constant moisture, creating a unique high-altitude ecosystem that clings to the steep volcanic slopes. Below the peaks, La Gomera's valleys flatten out slightly as they reach the sea. Agricultural terraces step down the hillsides, supporting extensive banana plantations. Farmers have carved these narrow plots into the slopes, utilizing every available patch of flat ground, before the land drops off into the black sand beaches along the Atlantic coast. The island's rugged geography funnels daily life toward coastal settlements. San Sebastian serves as the capital and primary port, wedged between the ocean and the steep interior mountains. Its sheltered harbor has provided a safe anchorage for centuries, making it a crucial stop for ships navigating the challenging Atlantic currents around the archipelago. Further east, the environment changes completely on the island of Fuerteventura. Here, the lush green valleys disappear, replaced by wide, arid deserts and rolling mountain ridges baked by the sun. The dry climate leaves the soil exposed in shades of red and brown. Along the shoreline, small clusters of traditional white fishing houses sit on dark pebble beaches, their residents relying entirely on the ocean in a land where fresh water is scarce. Navigating these rocky perimeters has always been dangerous. Lighthouses stand on the most isolated promontories, built to guide ships past the treacherous reefs. The Punta de Jandia lighthouse marks the southern tip of Fuerteventura, while on El Hierro, the Orchilla lighthouse watches over a remote stretch of the Atlantic, once considered the westernmost edge of the known world. These coastal outposts endure punishing winds and salt spray. Whether surrounded by the barren volcanic fields of El Hierro, the busy shores of Maspalomas in Gran Canaria, or the quiet cliffs of Punta de Sardina, each beacon serves as a critical warning system. They mark the boundary between the safety of the land and the unpredictability of the ocean. The raw geological power that formed this archipelago is most visible on Lanzarote. Inside Timanfaya National Park, the landscape looks almost entirely alien. Massive eruptions in the 18th century buried a quarter of the island under thick rivers of lava and ash. Today, the terrain remains a stark expanse of red and black craters. The solidified magma fields stretch for miles, leaving the ground rough and devoid of topsoil. It is a harsh environment where little vegetation can survive the dry, heated earth. The destruction left behind deep calderas and jagged ridges of basalt. Walking through these valleys reveals piles of loose volcanic debris and sharp rocks that make travel difficult. The earth here is still active. Just below the surface, temperatures remain high enough to ignite dry brush. This cracked ground serves as a permanent record of the catastrophic forces that reshaped Lanzarote, turning fertile farmland into a desolate sea of stone in a matter of years. Despite the hostile conditions, agriculture found a way to adapt. In the Laguna region, farmers cultivate grapevines directly in the dark volcanic ash. They dig wide, circular depressions to reach moisture trapped beneath the surface crust, creating a unique method of survival in the desert. Low, semicircular stone walls surround each plant. These barriers protect the fragile vines from the constant, drying trade winds that sweep across the island. This labor-intensive technique transforms the barren slopes into productive vineyards, yielding harvests from the volcanic soil. Along the coast of Lanzarote, human settlement embraces a uniform style. Traditional white Mediterranean houses cluster near the shoreline, their bright walls contrasting sharply with the black lava rock. Modern coastal resorts follow the same architectural rules, blending into the arid environment while offering sheltered pools and access to the turquoise ocean coves. On Gran Canaria, the architecture takes a different turn. In the town of Arucas, the San Juan Bautista Church dominates the skyline. Built entirely from local dark basalt, Its intricate neo-Gothic spires rise over the surrounding colorful streets and residential neighborhoods. Construction on this massive stone structure began in the early 20th century, relying on the skill of local master carvers. The detailed facades and tall towers show the historical wealth of the region, generated largely by the surrounding agricultural estates. The island's capital, Las Palmas, showcases an even older heritage. At the center of the historic Vegeta district stands the Cathedral of Santa Ana. Its construction spanned hundreds of years, resulting in a mix of Gothic, Renaissance, and neoclassical styles. The twin belfries of the cathedral look out over a dense, busy cityscape, where narrow historical streets meet modern commercial centers. This urban core has served as a major Atlantic port and administrative hub since the 15th century. South of the capital, the geography shifts into steep coastal valleys. Deep ravines cut through the rock, leading directly down to the ocean. Towns like Puerto Rico de Gran Canaria occupy these narrow gaps, filling the steep hillsides with high-rise resorts and terraced apartments facing the water. Extensive marinas provide dockage for hundreds of boats, sheltered by the natural curves of the coastline. As the sun sets, the city lights illuminate the dense development hugging the shore. The local economy relies heavily on this coastal infrastructure, drawing visitors to the warm southern waters year-round. Just down the coast, Amadores Beach demonstrates how heavily managed this shoreline has become. The crescent-shaped bay is protected by artificial breakwaters, keeping the turquoise water calm and clear. Thousands of umbrellas dot the white sand, creating a highly organized space for recreation. The beach sits nestled against a steep cliffside, requiring visitors to navigate winding access roads to reach the sheltered lagoon below. But the true height of the Canary Islands is measured vertically. On Tenerife, the land slopes upward into the high-altitude desert of Teide National Park. The terrain becomes a desolate expanse of dry brush and scattered pumice, leading to the towering, snow-capped peak of Mount Teide, the highest point in all of Spain. At sunset, the massive volcano casts long shadows across the caldera. This quiet, dormant giant is a constant reminder of the geological instability beneath the surface. The islands are never truly finished forming. The violent fires that built these rocky shores remain active today. When the earth tears open, pouring fresh magma into the dark Atlantic sky, the islands do not end. They simply begin to grow once again.